Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for our free trial webinar. Just to make sure that you can all hear me and see everything okay, if you wouldn't mind answering a really quick question just by commenting in the chat, just how you're hoping to use Classroom 42 during this free trial. It'd be really interesting to know how you're hoping to use the platform, and it also just means I know that everyone can see and hear me all right. So yeah, in tonight's webinar, we will be going through the platform, we'll be sharing all the benefits of the platform and give you hopefully lots of ideas on how to use the platform as well. We'll also be showing you a quick demo of our subjects, so our GCSE and Key Stage 3 Humanities subjects. And then obviously at the end, we will also be giving you the chance to sign up for the 3-month free trial. So amazing, I can see lots of people are giving their answers to my question, which is fab. Lots of revision, which is brilliant. It's definitely this time of year, definitely a big one that hopefully we can support you and your pupils with. Amazing, yeah, lots of homework as well, which, yeah, definitely with our exam builder and activity generator, that is definitely a really, really big bonus. So yeah, I'm Olivia. For those who don't know me, I am the head of Humanities at Classroom 42, and I'm also the head of product. And I should be joined hopefully soon by my colleague Tom, there we go, who is the managing director of the company. So yeah, I'll pass over to Tom to get started.
Thanks, Olivia. I'm just going to share my screen so hopefully everyone can see the presentation. If you can't see this, Olivia, or you can't hear me okay, then do shout up, but otherwise I'll get started. So I know tonight, fantastic. So I know tonight we've got a number of current members on the, I'm just going to present from here. So I know tonight we've got a lot of current members who are already using our humanities memberships with their teachers and pupils who are interested in using some of our new Key Stage 3 courses. And hopefully we've got lots of people who are also new to Classroom 42. So we can show you around the platform and show you, as you've just put in the chat, lots of people putting things like want to be able to use the platform for revision. We can show you how to do that with each individual tool. So just to give you a little bit of background about Classroom 42. So Classroom 42 launched back a few years ago in 2022. And to begin with, we were sort of set on creating lots of resources and downloadable resources and work booklets and worksheets to start with for history teachers with the view of expanding out to other subjects. But quite quickly, we decided to go into another direction to be a sort of fully immersive teaching, learning and assessment platform. And I think for us, the moment, it was about 2022, 2023, the moment sort of AI really came on the scene and we realized what it was going to be capable of and how it was going to be such a huge time saver if it could be used in the right way for teachers. We really didn't sort of stop then until we managed to crack AI marking. I think that was one of our initial goals for Classroom 42. So since then, we've sort of 2 years ago, we launched our first history course. So we had Edexcel GCSE History and AQA GCSE History. Since then, over the last couple of years, we've also added Geography and RS for GCSE. We've added Science for GCSE. We've added Key Stage 3 for all those courses as of the last couple of weeks. And we have also launched MFL, but we are continuing to grow. You can see on this screen here that we're sort of a small but growing team of teachers and educationalists who are very passionate about sort of growing our breadth of subjects, but also ensuring that we meet the needs of teachers and pupils with the tools that we're creating on the platform. So I'll continue to the next slide. So you can see some of our features across the top here, which we're going to go into a bit more detail on a little bit later. But I just wanted to touch upon our values, which we came up with a few years ago. So these are the things we talk about in the office again and again, and we make sure that we are appearing this way, hopefully to all schools and all teachers. So they are community, trust, excellence, innovation, and responsiveness. And hopefully those of you who are members do agree, or have been members for a couple of years, agree that we do follow these principles. And just down the bottom, you can see sort of our two main aims. So the big ones for us, and the two things that we don't really deviate away from in everything that we try to build on the platform, is we want to be there for pupils. So any pupil who wants to sort of get on and improve their outcomes, improve their attainment, we want the platform to be there for them. And we also make sure everything is teacher centric. So the other big one is reducing the workload for all teachers. In terms of the features then, so we're going to show these on the site shortly and show you how you can use each of the features. But we've got Examinator and Exam Builder, and these are our AI marking tools. They're probably what we would call our flagship tools, which bring or draw a lot of attention from teachers and bring them to the platform initially. But we also have lots of other tools on the site as well. So we've got videos, quizzes, and cheat sheets that can be used for revision, that can be used for independent learning for pupils anytime, anywhere, particularly this time of year when they're starting to focus on revision. We've got Activity Generator, which allows you to set AI generated activities for Key Stage 3 or Key Stage 4 pupils. And then we've also got a very detailed tracking area, which is another massive time saver, which we'll show you a little bit later. But some of the data you can get about your pupils, you can very easily see misconceptions, gaps in knowledge, and then work towards addressing those very quickly. So I'm just going to show two slides now. So this is sort of fresh off the press. So our head of education, Sean, went into 4 schools as of 2 weeks ago. He went into the classrooms 2 weeks ago. He interviewed some pupils and some teachers, and he also gave out surveys to all teachers and pupils using the subjects across these 4 schools. And the 4 schools were using all of our subject areas. So it was quite a number of teachers and pupils overall. So you can see a few of the comments. We've just put a few of the comments, and this is the teacher insight, and this is just a few of lots and lots of comments that were given during these interviews. But just to give you an overview, so the marking has been really accurate and shows good interpretation of the AQA level descriptors, saves me time marking for those questions on the platform. The higher prior attainment pupils, the variety of task and revision material will help embed the knowledge. It will give the SEND students time to process and review the work. And possibly more importantly, you can also see a few sort of outcomes and stats down the bottom, but I'll just touch on these two on the right hand side. So 88% of teachers that completed the survey believe the platform saves them time marking and setting work for cover and absent students. And then 100% believe it will improve outcomes for middle ability and grade boundary learners. So moving on to student insight. Again, we've just got a few comments from students, and the feedback is really useful. You can fix mistakes straight away. I love it. It makes me practice more because you can retry immediately. And I definitely rather have it than not. It will help me with my progress. And we'll show you what they mean for those who are new to the platform in terms of the feedback that they're going to get, which is really useful. We can obviously show you that. And we'll also show you, this is another one, the retry immediately is again to do with the sort of exam question feedback that pupils will get and the marks that they'll get from the AI, and the fact they can act on that straight away rather than having to hand in work, get it back weeks later before being able to potentially have another go. And just very quickly, so the pupil insight down the right hand side, 74% agree or strongly agree it will help prepare them better for exams. 97% understand and feel they can access the feedback, which is something we've worked really, really hard on to make sure that what the AI is telling the pupils after they've written in their answer, the feedback that they're getting, they can access and they can understand on it and act on it, rather than it just being a generic AI tool such as ChatGPT, where it throws all sorts out that pupils don't really understand. And then finally, 80% agree it helps them make more progress than without the platform. Okay, so moving on then. So why Classroom 42? So we find, as we discuss with teachers, and we have lots and lots of meetings with individual teachers and individual schools to discuss Classroom 42 and with members or people who are new to the platform. So we hear quite a lot about the other platforms that you might use. I think tonight, obviously, we've got humanities teachers on this webinar, and what the humanities teachers tend to tell us is there's not actually a lot out there which they really enjoy using. They almost seem a little bit left out compared to, for example, maths or science, or even MFL and Spanish and French, for example, where there might be several different platforms. But what our members tend to tell us on these meetings is sort of how we differ. So if their schools are signed up to things like GCSE Pods, Seneca, Tassomai, Sam Learning, they tell us these can sometimes be pretty good for retrieval practice, for things like quizzes, for a little bit of subject knowledge. They can be engaging and fun for pupils, but it is predominantly surface level learning, which doesn't really get to the depth in the subject area that the pupils actually need, and therefore doesn't really help them to prepare for their exams. You can see some of the other tools that teachers mentioned to us further down. So Quizlet, Running Paper, Kahoot, Caboodle, BBC Bitesize. Again, you're going to hear some positives about platforms such as these, but they tend to solve one problem, such as, for example, Kahoot. Yeah, it solves the problem of producing some quizzes for your classes, for example. BBC Bitesize might solve a problem for pupils going off and doing some independent revision. The teacher's got no oversight. Running Paper is one which does AI marking, but doesn't do anything else on the platform. So we're trying to be, and I think we are very quickly becoming, a one-stop shop where hopefully everything you need in terms of teaching, learning, and assessment you can get on Classroom 42 without having 10 different tabs open during your lesson, having to go to Kahoot and Running Paper and Quizlet and back and forth. So yeah, you can just see on the right-hand side then how we try to stand out. So true innovation when it comes to AI. So looking at all of these other companies on here and ed tech companies, we don't feel, and our members say that the other companies do not provide AI marking or AI tools in the same way that we do. Multiple features to support both teachers and pupils. So as I said, trying to be a one-stop shop for you, built by teachers for teachers, and then having the subject depth, exam board specific in everything we do at Key Stage 4 level, and curriculum specific at Key Stage 3, and then always thinking about exam preparation as well. Right, I'm going to switch back to Olivia, and she's just going to talk you through our current courses before starting the demo.
Great, thanks, Tom. So yeah, as Tom has sort of touched upon, obviously a lot of you, or well, all of you will be humanities teachers. So as you can see here, out of our current courses, we currently cover edXL and AQA GCSE History, AQA GCSE Geography, and AQA GCSE Religious Studies. We have also just launched our Key Stage 3 Humanities, so that is for History, Geography, and Religious Studies. And you may not be aware that we have also got AQA GCSE MFL. We've also got Key Stage 3 Science and AQA GCSE Science as well. So definitely pass this on to your colleagues if you do have colleagues within those subject areas. We also have lots of new courses constantly being developed. As Tom mentioned, we started off Classroom 42 only with edXL GCSE History, and over the last few years we've obviously introduced a lot more courses, and we definitely don't plan to stop anytime soon. We're definitely planning to just keep on expanding and keep on increasing the number of courses that we have. So as you can see at the bottom here, our new courses coming throughout 2026 is English Language and Literature for AQA GCSE, AQA GCSE Sociology, and also Edexcel GCSE Business Studies. We are also always open to suggestions for new courses. So do definitely share the courses that you would like to see from us in the future. So we do take them all on board. We note them down usually and then go through with Sean, our head of education, to kind of get the gist of what courses our current members would like to see from us next. But yeah, lots of exciting things coming from us in the next few months. So the next thing I wanted to discuss with you, as you are all humanities teachers and I am the head of humanities at Classroom 42, I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into how we build our courses, and especially with the new Key Stage 3 humanities courses as well. So with Key Stage 3, our main goal is to kind of bridge that gap between Key Stage 3 and GCSE. We want to kind of make that transition as smooth as possible for students who choose to continue with humanities subjects at GCSE level. Obviously, if pupils are using our platform during the kind of 2 or 3 years throughout Key Stage 3, when they move on to GCSE, they're going to be a lot more confident with the platform. They're going to know exactly where to go for their revision, and it means that everything's just in one place, and it's a lot obviously easier for you as a teacher to have just that one platform that you can kind of use throughout Key Stage 3 as well as GCSE. In terms of how we created the courses, a little bit of differences. Obviously, for geography, we cover the national curriculum, so the topics within the national curriculum, we cover those within our course. For history and RE, obviously it's a little bit different with Key Stage 3 in terms of the national curriculum being a little bit more vague, but we did a lot of research and got in touch with a lot of our current members to see which kind of topics are taught the most. So we have chosen the kind of most popular topics that we could see that were kind of broadly taught across the board. But as always, we're open to suggestions. If you find that you're using our Key Stage 3 history or RE courses over the free trial and you think you could really benefit from any additional topics, let us know. We're always happy to kind of take those on board, and know that obviously history and RE cover very, very wide topics. So we're always looking to kind of update and improve the courses that we have. In terms of GCSE, I know a lot of you are already using our GCSE courses. I recognise a lot of names within the chat, which is brilliant. As you will know, and hopefully soon anyone new will know as well, we are very exam board specific with our GCSE courses. We cover the spec, we follow the spec, we break down our topics and units using the spec to make sure that everything obviously is just as spec aligned as possible. And that goes the same with all of our exam questions. We use past papers to get the exact sort of structure that exam questions would have on the real paper. We also cover all optional topics. So for history and RE, obviously there are a lot of different options for GCSE. We cover all of the optional topics. So even if you kind of teach a less popular topic, we will still have the kind of full set of tools available for you. And the final thing I wanted to touch upon again, as we keep going back to, is feedback. We pride ourselves in not only sort of wanting feedback, but responding to feedback really well as well. For example, over the last few months, we had a few queries from Edexcel and AQA GCSE history teachers that found that the AI marking on our exam questions was getting a little bit too lenient. So we took that feedback on board. I worked over a couple of months. I updated every single prompt and mark scheme for every single exam question in our GCSE history course. And we also updated the model of AI that we use for the AI marking, which made it a lot more accurate. It meant it was a lot more sophisticated at kind of understanding the mark scheme. And since then, we've had a lot of really, really great feedback on the accuracy of our AI marking for GCSE history. So yeah, just as we always say, we're always open to feedback. We love getting feedback, whether that's positives or things that we can improve on. So yeah, hopefully we can kind of work together during the 3-month free trial and get all your feedback and insights. So next I will go onto the site and we'll give a bit of a live demo on how the site works. So whether kind of you're brand new, Even if you're kind of a member that's been with us a while, there's often like little bits and bobs that you might not realise that you could do with the site. We have made a few updates as well since the last webinar. So yeah, we thought we would just give you a bit of a tour around the site. So here I am on the Edexcel GCSE History online learning page, but all the online learning pages for the different courses work in a very, very similar way. So this is the first tab that pupils will come onto. So you can see along the left-hand side here, we have our pupil tools. So this is what pupils will see when they log onto the site. And on the other side, we have our teacher tools. So this is where you can set work for your pupils. Our first pupil tool is Examinator. And as I think Tom mentioned already, it's definitely one of our most popular tools. This is the AI marking of exam questions. Pupils and teachers really engage well with it. I think obviously there's so many benefits to the instant AI marking with the sort of obviously getting that feedback instantly is just so beneficial for pupils, and we find that pupils really, really engage well with this tool. So the way it works is pupils can come on once they've got their logins, they can access all of the topics within their course. As you can see here, we have our filters. So we split all the different papers up into the topics and the subtopics, so pupils can be as sort of specific as they want to be with their revision. Pupils can also filter by marks. So here they can tick which marks they want to be tested on. If they, particularly struggle with 16 markers, for example, with history, they could just kind of focus on those longer mark answers. If they wanted to sort of just focus on the 2 markers and just make sure that they're always getting that 2 out of 2, they can focus on those, or they can have them all ticked and just have a bit of a variation of questions. As I mentioned before, all of our questions are written by our team of subject experts, and they are all written within we use templates from past papers. So they're all written kind of in the exact same way that you would expect to come up on a paper. This means that pupils feel really confident when they go into the exam because they recognise the exact kind of question type, they recognise the style, and they kind of can instantly think, I know what this is and explain why. I know that's a 12 marker instantly. So I'll show you how it works. I'll get up a example answer for you to have a look. So this is an Edexcel GCSE history question here on approaches to treatment from the Medicine in Britain topic. So pupils can pop their answer in the box there and then click AI feedback. And it only takes a few seconds for our AI model to mark their answer and then give the specific instant AI feedback. There we go. So you can see here that the AI feedback has come straight away. Here in the center, we have our kind of general AI feedback, and that is what instantly shows up for pupils. They also get their mark achieved. So here we've got a 6 out of 12 mark achieved. And it gives us some information about how to improve and what's gone well. So you can see here, our AI always tries to kind of break things down into nice, easily manageable chunks. Pupils can also open up the mark scheme. So this is our mark scheme, which has indicative content as well, so they can have a look at that. And a kind of a newer tool that we have introduced over the last couple of months is our adaptive feedback. So pupils have the option to simplify and also to aim higher. So for example, if they don't quite understand the kind of general AI feedback that comes up, they can click simplify, and then we have a specific prompt that helps simplify the feedback. Now this doesn't just simplify the kind of feedback that's already been given. This actually generates new feedback specifically to help pupils who might not understand the generic feedback. Our head of education, Sean, worked really hard on the prompts for these 2 different adaptive feedbacks, and he decided for the simplify, we would always split it up into 2 steps, a what went well and a what is missing. Makes it nice and clear for the pupil. We also reduce the reading age for the simplify to make sure that pupils can, hopefully really understand what they need to do to improve. So you can see here, our what went well just gives a really nice, simple kind of sentence about what we did well in our answers. So say that we clearly explained how Simpson's chloroform no longer allowed longer, less painful operations, and then Nightingale's focus on cleanliness. And then what is missing, it gives us 2 really simple points on how to kind of get up to that next mark band. To move above 6 marks, you need at least 1 more well-explained reason, and then also needing clearer links back to the question. Then we have our aim higher. So this is for pupils that are kind of wanting a little bit more out of the feedback and wanting really specific ways in how that they can make their answer better. And our aim higher always gives 3 action points into how to do that. So here you can see we've got add a third fully developed factor. We've got for each factor explain why the change happened. And at the end of every paragraph, link back to the question. It also gives us sentence starters. So for example, it's giving us actual examples of what we could write in our answer. It's giving examples of specific historical knowledge that pupils could draw upon in their answer. So it's really, really specific to their answer and hopefully is really, really nice and clear for pupils into how to get up to that kind of next mark band. Pupils obviously can then use that feedback, take it on board. They can hit retry and have a go at the question instantly. This is what's really great about this AI feedback is that the fact that pupils can answer a question, they can get the feedback instantly, and they can also retry it instantly. So hopefully they will instantly see maybe that 6 out of 12 becoming an 8 or a 10 out of 12 within, the matter of 15 minutes, for example. It means that they can build that confidence and that they can really see themselves improving in kind of real time, rather than having to wait for a question to be marked. They perhaps completely forgotten what they've written the first time around. They go to rewrite the question and they end up just making the same mistakes. It means that they can just keep retrying and keep repracticing those exam questions. Then once pupils are happy, they can go on to the next question. And then our AI questions will keep on filtering through the filters so they can keep answering more and more questions. So that is Examinator. We know it's really, really popular for independent revision. Obviously, pupils, the fact that they can just log on, have a go at questions themselves, they can just do it by themselves and not have to kind of worry about nagging you as a teacher to keep marking their answers. We also know a lot of teachers like to use this in class. For example, I know teachers that get the answer up on the board and get the class to kind of write a joint answer for a question, and then they can see, again, the instant marks and feedback and kind of discuss what the AI has given them. Also, if you do have access to devices in class, it's a great way to do as a quick kind of starter activity or a quick plenary to answer a couple of questions on Examinator. And all of the answers that pupils put into Examinator are all saved for you, so you can go back and have a look and see exactly what questions pupils have answered, but also you can see there what they wrote, and you can also see what the AI gave them. Okay, so that is Examinator. I'll fly through the rest of the pupil tools now, just because they're a little bit more self-explanatory. So I'll go on to Key Stage 3 History, which is one of our new courses. We have our quizzes is the next tool that we have. So we have these for every single one of our subtopics, and these are 10-mark quiz questions and nice and easy for pupils to kind of fly through. They're great, again, as a starter activity or even as a kind of a plenary. So for example, if you finish a particular subtopic, you could get all your pupils to complete the quiz in lesson if you do have devices, or you could even get it up on the board and do it together, and just shows how pupils have kind of understood that content. I'll go through next to Key Stage 3 Religious Education, just so we can have a little look at all the different courses. So our next tool is videos. Again, we have videos for all of our subtopics. We break them down into nice, short, snappy, kind of 2.5 minute videos. For Key Stage 3, obviously, they're a little bit more sort of introductory videos, so they'd be great to kind of play at the start of a lesson or as a recap. For GCSE, we try and cover the specification points within the videos, just in a really nice and short, snappy way, which is great for kind of revision, especially night before the exam. It's quite a nice kind of slightly more relaxing way of revising for pupils to put on a few videos just to recap and just, again, build their confidence. The final pupil tool that we have here is the cheat sheets. So these, again, are really, really popular, both with teachers and pupils. They are our kind of revision posters that we have for every single subtopic. They're nice and engaging, colourful, full of pictures. And again, they're really popular for printing out, popping around the classroom, for example, or getting pupils to stick them in their books. For Key Stage 3, again, they're a little bit more of an introduction into the topic, whereas GCSE, we try and sort of cram them very full of everything that pupils need to know from the spec. So they've kind of got that one sheet that they can just use for revision. The final tab that I will just show you very quickly is the My Work tab. So here you can see an example of what pupils see on their My Work tab. Tom will show in a minute the teacher tools of Exam Builder and Activity Generator. And once you set any of these exams or activities to your pupils, pupils can see them within this My Work tab. As you can see here, they'll see the list of their exams and activities. They'll be able to see the due date. They'll be able to see whether they've completed it or not. And they can just literally click into the button, Start Exam or Start Activity, and that'll open them up in a new tab and they can get started on whatever activity or exam you've set them. Yeah, so I will hand over to Tom now to take you through our teacher tools.
Thanks, Olivia. I'll just share my screen again. So hopefully everyone can see this now. So I've just jumped across to AQA GCSE Geography again, just so we're using different courses. But as Olivia said before, the tools are exactly the same. It's just the content that's different. So I'm just going to zoom out slightly. Ooh, there we go. I think that's slightly better. Just so I'm going to show you Exam Builder first of all. So this works in a similar way to Examinator, but only teachers will be able to access this. So everything on the right-hand side, these tools are only accessible by teachers. Pupils won't see them at all. So I'm going to use the filters just like Olivia showed you in Examinator. So I can pick papers, I can pick a whole paper, I can pick topics within that paper, I can select individual subtopics if I want to. So I'm just going to pick the whole of this topic, challenge of natural hazards. I can also filter by mark. So if I'm trying to build a paper for my pupils and I only want 1 and 2 mark questions, for example, if I just wanted extended questions, 6 and 9 mark, then I can do that as well. I'm going to keep all of them for now, and I'm just going to click apply filters. And then my questions within those filters, so that bank of questions is going to show down here. So what I can do is I can click the plus icon on any question that I want to add. So I can scroll through as a teacher. I can say, okay, this 2-mark question, I like the look of that. I'm going to drop that in, and that's going to come into my exam at the top here. So I'm going to scroll down again. I might scroll down and add 1 marker here. I could add a 4 marker if I want. So I'm going to add a 6 marker as well. So I might then say, right, that's my weekly homework. They're the questions that I want, or they're the questions that I want my pupils to have a go at in class this week. And when I'm happy, I can click create exam. So I can click this create exam button here, and then I can give the exam a name. So I'm just going to call it geography for now. I can give a due date. So this is a due date for my pupils when they need to complete it by. So especially if it is a homework, this is nice and useful. You can also give a schedule date for this exam. So if I don't want my pupils to see it until next week, for example, or until tomorrow, or until later on in the term, then I can just use this calendar here and set a schedule date. We brought that in because lots of teachers were saying to us, it's great how quickly you can set the exams. Or set weekly homework, for example. We want to do all of our half-termly exam practice, set it all in one go, in one sitting, and schedule it for different times throughout the half term. So that one's quite useful as well. And then you've also got comments or instructions. So you might say something along the lines of complete a quiz as well for this topic, watch the videos before having a go at these exam questions, or you might just give some advice on how to answer specific questions and a bit of support for pupils. You will then see your classes. So any classes that you're assigned to, you're going to see down the bottom here. So I've just got this one class called AQA GCSE Geography, but you would be seeing 10Y Religious Studies, 7Y geography, whatever your classes might be, you will see them all here. You can set the exam for one class, you can set it for multiple classes, that's up to you, but you just click post down here, exam scheduled successfully, and I can now see this exam under manage existing exams here. So this is still within Exam Builder as a teacher, but I've got this manage existing exams drop down, and this is where my exam is now showing. What I can now do, so I can click edit if I want to edit the details such as the due date or the name or the instructions. I can duplicate if I want to then set it for another class at a later point. I can delete. I can download it if I want to use it as download it as a PDF, print it out, and get pupils to handwrite their answers. I have got that option, and I can also click share, and this will copy the link to the actual exam. So if, for example, you use Google Classroom or Satchel One or Teams for setting homework, you could copy that exact link and you could paste it into Google Classroom, for example, and just give some instructions there, if that's a requirement at your school, for example. But as Olivia touched upon before, pupils will see this exam set for them in their My Work tab. So as long as they know that's where their work's going to be, then they will find it week to week. Finally, then you can click on this eye icon to see what the pupils will see when they begin the exam or the homework. So they will see their instructions will be up here, the title will be up here, the student name, and then you've got your questions. Pupils will simply be popping in their answers here. And when they're happy, they would then be submitting that exam. It's all going to mark within about 10 or 20 seconds. AI is going to give for every single question underneath, it's going to give a mark and feedback in the same way that Olivia showed you for Examinator. So pupils will have all of that feedback. They can go through straight away. They can then retry the exam if they want to and have another go. But everything will also be saved in the pupil dashboard. But then even more importantly, it's all saved for you. So we'll show you that a little bit later on, but all of the marks, all of the feedback and the question level analysis will be available for you immediately in your teacher dashboard. So that is Exam Builder. Hopefully, even as I've gone through there, showing you everything in quite a bit of detail, it's still taken me a matter of minutes to create that exam paper, to set it for the pupils. And you think then you've got no time that you're going to be spending on marking or analysing either. So if we add up all of those things, it is hours that you're going to be saving every time you set a homework or a set of questions. Activity generator then is the next one. So again, you've got the filters down the left-hand side. And for this one, for activity generator, I can use a maximum of 2 subtopics. I can pick different activity types. So at the moment, we've got fill in the blanks, multiple choice, matchup, word search, and crossword. I can select a difficulty level, low, medium, and high. And I can also put time available. So an approximate time pupils should be spending on this online activity. I click generate activity, and this one usually takes about 20 seconds for the AI to create this activity before I can review it and set it. So that's going to pop up in a minute, but the feedback we get from teachers is lots will use this for weekly homework, for subject knowledge practice, for retrieval practice, for revision, setting revision for pupils as well. If devices are available, you could use it as a starter activity or a recap tool during lessons. But you can see the AI's created this activity for me now, and I can now go through as a teacher and decide if I want to keep or edit any of these specific activities. So if I'm not happy with any parts, I can delete. So I've got fill in the blanks here. I can click delete. I can also click regenerate if I think it just needs editing or improving. And this allows me to then give some instructions to the AI before the AI recreates that part of the resource. So I might say, this is a little bit too detailed. I might say, can you lower the reading age? Can you make reference to this specific key term or this subtopic? So it just means that you're in control of what's going out rather than the AI being in full control of what your pupils see. But when you're happy, so you can skip through here, you can regenerate or delete, you just click create activity. And again, this is now exactly the same as Exam Builder in that you give a due date, you can schedule, you can leave comments, you can pick your class, and then you click post or schedule, and it's going to save. And we've now got manage existing activities in exactly the same way here. So I can see my activity, edit, duplicate, download, delete, share, exactly the same as before. And you can then click the eye icon again, And this is going to open up to show you what the pupils will see. So again, pupils are going to see their activities, they're going to skip through, they're going to get to the end of this homework or classwork, they click submit and everything's auto marked again, saved for you as a teacher, saved for pupils as well. Finally, then, we've also got for all Key Stage 4 courses, we've also got mock exams. And I won't go into quite as much detail on this one, but for each GCSE course, we've got a full mock exam paper. The questions on this paper will be structured in exactly the same way as the real exams in terms of marks available, in terms of the types of questions and where they appear on the paper. And you can set these papers at any point throughout the year. So pupils won't see them until you set them. The questions on the mock exams won't be found anywhere else on the site. So if you decided this time of year, for example, I've finished the content for GCSE geography, I'm going to set this for my year 11 pupils. They won't have seen any of these exam questions before, and it's going to give you a really good indicator of where they're up to with their revision and the areas and topics that they need to focus on. What are their weaknesses? What are their strengths individually, but as a class, as a whole as well? And it's really easy for you to see that in your teacher dashboard. So yeah, it's another great tool, the mock exams for getting some detailed analysis on your pupils and how your classes are getting on. Right, they're the teacher tools then. I'm going to pass back to Olivia and she's going to now show you the teacher dashboard area.
Brilliant, thanks, Tom. So yeah, this is the teacher dashboard. So once you first log in, when we have created your accounts, you'll be redirected here. And you can also always access your teacher dashboard by clicking this button in the top corner here. First of all, you can see your membership plan, and you can also access all of the course pages by just clicking into the images below. You can also do things like edit your profile, so if you need to update your password or anything like that, you can do that through here. We also have a tab on the side here called support videos. This has video tutorials for all of the different features on the platform. So if you're ever stuck or need a little bit of guidance on anything, or especially if your colleagues are joining in the free trial and haven't been on this webinar, you can direct them to this support videos section. We also have details on how to get in touch with us as well, as we're always really happy to help guide through any issues that you might be having on the site. Then the main tab that you'll probably be using on the teacher dashboard is the My Classes. So once we've got you set up and we have added all your classes to your account, you'll be able to see all of your class names along the this bit here. You can also star classes, so this means that they will just be kind of as your favourites and they'll always show up at the top of the list. So to go into your class, just simply click on the name and then it will bring up your class for you. Here we are, so this is my Key Stage 3 History class here. You'll be able to see all of your pupils here. Obviously, once you first get set up, you won't have any pupils in. So how you can add your pupils is just by clicking this Add Pupil button here. There are 3 different ways to add pupils to your class. Clicking Add Pupil just means you can kind of add them one by one and paste in kind of the email addresses and names and passwords of pupils, which is really great, especially more to add kind of one-off pupils as you're sort of adding pupils kind of throughout the year. The second option is copy link. So this allows you to copy a link to your clipboard. You can share this with pupils. So whether that's through email, through Google Classroom, Teams, whatever kind of online learning platforms that you might use for contacting your pupils. Pupils can then click on that link and then they can either create an account for themselves and add themselves to the class, or if they already have an account, so for example, if you know that your science department already use Classroom 42, so all of your students already have logins, they can log in onto that link and then add themselves to, for example, the history class. So it's nice and simple. If your pupils are using other subjects, they can just use one login and they can access all the different subjects. The final way to add pupils is the bulk upload option. So this allows you to get a CSV form where you can just paste in all of the email addresses, names and passwords of your pupils for that class, and then you can upload them all in one click. We will send over a video on giving a bit more detail on how to add your pupils and kind of guiding you through each step by step. So you'll be able to have a look at that in a bit more detail when you come to set up your pupils. Yeah, and on the pupils themselves, you can do things like edit their passwords, remove them from a class and change them between classes if there are any swaps. You can also generate a report for each pupil, which basically just gives you a bit of a snapshot of how the pupil is getting on the site. So for example, for this pupil here, we can see how many quizzes and exam questions they've completed, and we can also see the average score for those. And it also gives a strongest and weakest topic, which I think is quite useful, especially for things like parents' evening or looking at kind of ways to get pupils to improve. You can instantly spot here that their kind of topic that they need to do the most revision on and the topic that they're doing the best in. Then we also have the different results along the top here, all broken down into each of the tools. So it's really nice and detailed for you to have a look into each individual tool. So the first one we have is Activity Generator. So any activities that you create and set on your online learning page, like Tom showed us how to do earlier, will show up here, and you can just simply click into one and see a list of your pupils and who has attempted it and what marks they got. So it's nice to get a really easy, quick snapshot of who has kind of completed the work or not. You can also click into all of the attempts, and then you can see the exact activity that the people had a go at. You can see exactly what they kind of inputted for each question, where they went right and wrong. So you can see here for this activity, it will highlight in green where they've done anything correct. It'll highlight in red where they've got a question wrong. So you can really pinpoint how the pupil is getting on. You can also download these results as well into an Excel spreadsheet if you find that easier to use as well. Next, we have Exam Builder results. So this is for any exams set on the Exam Builder tool. So again, these will all show up on your dashboard here. Again, you just simply click into it and then it will open up and show all of your pupils and their attempts. Just like on Activity Generator, you can click on an attempt and it will bring up the exam for you. You can see exactly what pupils have written for every single question, and you can see the AI marks and feedback that have been given for each question as well. So if we scroll down for here, for example, our first question, we can see exactly what the pupil wrote. We can see what AI feedback they got and what mark. And if you're ever unhappy with the AI marks or feedback and you want to edit them, you just click Edit Feedback and you can change the mark that they got, or you can change the actual feedback, and then that'll update both on your dashboard and the pupil's dashboard as well. So you have complete kind of control and ownership over the AI marking and feedback. You can also download pupils' full kind of exams using this button here, because I know some teachers like to print them off, get them to kind of stick them in their books and that kind of thing. So you can download the pupils' attempts here. We also have class analysis and pupil report. So I'll show you the class analysis, but pupil report is just the exact same, but for a particular pupil rather than across the whole class. So this is really, really useful for especially the exam questions. It basically gives you a snapshot. So all of the questions within the exam, and then it gives you the average marks across the whole class for anyone who's attempted the exam. We also highlight in red, yellow or green kind of how each question got on. So you can really easily see exactly which question your pupils have done the best at, and also which question might need a little bit more work and support. So for example, if we set this Elizabeth I exam questions as a homework, and then we saw the pupils that had completed it, we can easily identify that this final question 4 was the kind of worst performed throughout the class. So then, for example, your starter in the next lesson after the homework could be focusing on that specific question and kind of making sure that the content and the knowledge is kind of solidified with your pupils. You can also download all of the analysis using this download button here as well. We also have our examinator report. So this is for any exam question that pupils complete on the examinator tool rather than anything that's been set for them. So it's more the kind of independent revision. You can have a look and see the snapshot of how many questions each pupil has answered. And we also have analysis both for the class and for individual pupils. So the class analysis breaks down every single pupil, and again gives us that red, green and amber kind of scoring to show you and highlight which pupils might need a bit more support, and which pupils are kind of doing quite well on the exam question front. And we also break it down even further, so we break it down into topics. So this will show any topic that a pupil within the class has had a go at, and again highlights which is green, which is red and which is amber. For example, if you know you're going to get your GCSE classes set up this week, and you know that your pupils are going to be using Examinator kind of for independent revision over the next month, for example, you can just keep a track of this. Then when you're ready to kind of plan your intervention sessions or your revision sessions with particular classes, you can literally come here and you can spot instantly which topics are the whole class struggling with the most. Anything in red obviously will be your kind of pinpoints for those intervention or revision sessions. And again, we break down the question types as well. So again, we can see, for example, this class is actually struggling most with 2-mark questions. So we know that's somewhere that you would need to kind of focus on in intervention or revision. We also have our quiz results. So any quiz that pupils have completed on the site, they will get recorded here. So we can have a look at each individual quiz. So we can find, for example, a particular topic, find that quiz and have a look at the attempts that pupils have made. So for example, if you've got pupils to have a go at a quiz in class, for example, individually on their devices, you can then straight away see how they've done on the quiz. You can also click into each quiz as well and see exactly what questions they've got wrong. Or if you kind of want pupils to just have a go at the quizzes themselves as revision, you can use the class analysis and that'll kind of give you a breakdown of all the quizzes throughout the class. So here you can see we've got our list of pupils, how many quizzes they've attempted, and then the average mark. And again, we've got our topic analysis, so you can really focus and see which quizzes your pupils have struggled the most with. And the final tab that I will show you, obviously it's not on our Key Stage 3 courses, but we do have mock exams for our GCSE courses. These are, like Tom explained, mock kind of papers that are made to look like a real mock that we have created. You can have a look into these as well. So if you click into any mock that you have set, you can see all your pupils and the attempts. And just like Exam Builder, you can click into these attempts and see exactly what the pupil has written for every single question. You've also got your pupil report and your class analysis for the mock exam. This is really, really useful, especially coming up to exams for pupils to be able to kind of have a go at a real kind of looking exam that's going to be sort of the same amount of questions that they would kind of get in a real exam. And you also get obviously your analysis, which is really, really useful for planning revision sessions. So we break down every question into the average marks. And we also break down the question types, so you can see the average scores for each mark question type, and also the subtopics, so you can see if there's a particular subtopic that your class is particularly struggling with, then you can know that's where kind of more support is needed. So I think that is a very quick rundown of the teacher dashboard. Obviously, there's absolutely loads of analysis within there. And obviously, the more your pupils use the platform, the more beneficial the analysis is going to be for you when you're doing that kind of last minute revision sessions and intervention preparation. So I will pass back over to Tom, who will be able to continue with the rest of the presentation.
Right, thanks, Olivia. Olivia, just to check, because I was just answering questions on the chat. Did you go through? Someone was just asking about the setting up of pupil logins. Did you go through that as well? Fantastic.
I ran through very quickly the different kind of ways that we
Yeah,
can set up the
brilliant,
pupils. I thought
fantastic.
I don't want to take too much of everyone's time with going through every
Yeah,
single
yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but
Absolutely.
we'll share a link to a video that
Yeah,
goes into really much more depth in how to set up the different ways and how to set up the pupil
yeah.
logins when we create
Thank you.
your
I was
accounts.
I was fully concentrating on asking 3 or 4 questions, but no, that's great. I just wanted to double check. So I'm going to share my screen again now. And yeah, so we're just going to come to this slide here, which covers the next steps for getting started with the free trial. So that's whether you're a member and you're looking to try out the Key Stage 3 courses and you're looking not to jump on one course or maybe all three of those courses, or if you're a new member and you're looking to get both GCSE, access to GCSE and Key Stage 3 courses over the coming months. So the first step is to fill in our free trial form, and we will get everything set up for you over the coming days. So I'm going to show you that form in one moment. There is a deadline to complete that form of Friday, the 20th of March, which is a week on Friday. Step 2 would then be to roll out Classroom 42 to teachers and pupils within your subject area. So there's a deadline to get your pupils set up by 27th of March. So that's just before the Easter break for most schools. And then finally, third step is benefit from full access to all teaching and learning tools during this key period of revisional exams through to 19th of June 2026. So we're going to share at the end of the session, we're going to share a link to this page, and there's just a form to complete if you would like to go ahead with the free trial. So it's just the details that we need in order to get you set up and so you can make a start. So you will need to provide your name. So the person filling in this form, you need to put your name in. So I've just put Joe Bloggs. You need your email address, your school email address, the name of the school. You can just answer if you're a current member of Classroom 42 already, and then you can pop in your mobile number. This just allows us to potentially send you the odd WhatsApp message, reaching out to offer a bit of support, that kind of thing, throughout the free trial. So the next page you'll come on to, this is teacher details. So this is the first name, last name, and email address for each teacher. So if I just put first name, last name, you're going to be popping in a email address for each teacher, and then you can select the course that this teacher needs access to. So if it's a history teacher, very likely to be teaching both Key Stage 3 history, presumably, and a GCSE history as well. So I'm going to put Key Stage 3 history and Edexcel history, and then you'd be moving on to add all of the teachers that require access. So if you are, for example, a head of humanities and you're filling out this form for history, geography and religious studies, you can put everything into the one form. But if you're just filling it out for history or just for geography, just for RS, just for one course, or whether it's multiple courses, that's completely up to you. You can add more than 3 teachers. So when you get to 3 teachers, would you like to add more? We can click yes, and we can add a lot more teachers, and we can keep going with that process until all of the teachers have been added. I'd then click next again, and I can now provide the details for each class. So please provide the name of each class, e.g. 10X and the course. So if my class I need setting up is 10X/HI, for example, I would then select the course that this class need access to. So this class might be AQA GCSE history, class 2 name, let's just say it was 7Y geography, and I'm going to be selecting Key Stage 3 geography there. Again, once you've added 3, you may well have more than that. So you can click yes to more classes, and you can add again and again as you wish. It's up to you. It's completely up to you how many courses and how many classes you would like to add. We do envisage that some departments will want to roll Classroom 42 out with the free trial and the free access to as many pupils and teachers as they can. So it could be the whole of Key Stage 3 and the whole of Key Stage 4. If for any reason you just wanted to roll out to certain classes or certain teachers, for example, teaching certain classes, again, that's completely up to you and your approach. You'd then click next then. And finally, you've got the option down the bottom. You can add in any comments or questions. So anything specific that you think needs to be mentioned here, or any questions that you've got, you can pop them in there. And then there's also just a tick box here. So if you're interested in hearing more about a whole school free trial, so we're talking about humanities tonight. If you think your school might also be interested in using science and or modern foreign languages as well, then please just tick this box and we can get in touch with you to potentially offer a whole school free trial where we would potentially liaise a bit more closely with a key contact or a member of the senior leadership team to roll out the platform for free across the whole school. So I'm going to come back to slideshow here. So a few people were already asking about pricing. So this slide here just gives a little bit of information on pricing. So for a single course, and these are available, these prices through to the 1st of July. So as long as you let us know by the 1st of July this year, you will be able to lock in these prices. So for a single course membership, it is £349. So if you were going ahead with, for example, Edexcel GCSE history, and that was the only course you wanted access to, that would be £349 for every teacher, every pupil, and every class within that course. A whole school membership is just under 3,000. So that covers all of our subjects and all of our courses, access for all teachers and all pupils. So as many teachers and pupils as you need. It covers all subjects and courses, but it will also include any subjects and courses that we add over the next 12 months. So when we add English in the coming months, for example, we won't be coming back to the school and saying, you now need to pay extra to use English. It will be included. We're adding PE to the site in the near future. Olivia mentioned about adding sociology and business studies, and we do envisage there will be more courses as well coming over the next 12 months. So I hope that makes sense. I'll just fly through these as well. So you can see single course membership, access to all online learning tools for your course, logins for all teachers and pupils, membership through to 31st of August 2027. And then the whole school membership has got those benefits, but also new courses. As I mentioned, you will get individual onboarding and CPD sessions. So we will offer a CPD session for all teachers at the school online potentially at the start of the school year or at a time that suits you. And you will also get additional analytics and reporting that looks at how pupils and teachers are engaging with the platform, how that can be improved, and we'll offer you a bit more of a bespoke experience. Finally, I'll just mention, if you're looking for something in between those two things, so the single course and the whole school, then get in touch with us. If it's, for example, 3 courses that you're looking at or 4 courses, but you're not quite looking at the whole school membership, then let us know, and we will be able to communicate with you over a bespoke membership. So I hope that is nice and clear. As I said, those prices are through to the 1st of July, but we will be in touch with you before then to see if you did want to go ahead. Now, finally, I hope we've got across tonight that we're not the type of company that stands still for very long, and we're constantly looking at ways we can improve things. We've got lots of projects ongoing, lots of new courses, looking at new features. So some of the things that are on our radar over the coming months, really, over the next 3 or 4 months. So we're looking at a Bromcom and Arbor integration so that we can pull your data from that software, from your registration software, and bring your pupils and classes directly into Classroom 42 so that it avoids that longer setup process of you uploading pupils, for example, or adding pupil logins. We're hoping that will be in place for September. We're adding single sign-on so that teachers and pupils can log on with their school email address and password. So you won't need a separate password for Classroom 42. That's not quite ready. We're very confident that's going to be ready even within the next couple of months. Improve quizzes with personalization as well. And we're looking at lots of ways that we can personalize learning for each individual pupil. So lots to come on that. And then also quicker platform speed, which we've been working pretty hard on as we get more users and more courses and more content on the site. We want to make sure everything is as functional and as fast as possible for you and your pupils. So that's another one that's coming over the next couple of months. Right, I think that is everything. We just like to ask them. We asked at the start about what you were most excited about using Classroom 42 for with your pupils. If we could just ask that question again, it would be great feedback for us. Now that you've seen absolutely everything, including what's to come in the future, some new features. We've taken an in-depth look at some of our AI tools and retrieval practice tools. So if you don't mind just answering as one final question in the chat, what you are most excited about using Classroom 42 for throughout the trial. And it's really useful for us to take a look and make sure we're focusing in the right areas. So if you don't mind answering that one last question, and then in a couple of moments, we will then post the link for the sign up as well. Fantastic. Yeah, because lots of answers, and we'll have a good look through this chat tomorrow as well. We'll just scan through for now, but great to see. Yeah, lots of people saying it, AI feedback, exam builder, exam practice and feedback, of course, independent revision. A few people saying cheat sheets, which is brilliant. Instant feedback for pupils. Exam practice mock papers, fantastic. Reducing workload, that's exactly what we're trying to do. So that's really great to see. Pupils revising independently, which is fantastic. More exposure to exam practice, which is another one which we feel helps Classroom 42 to stand out, that exam practice. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Like I said, we will have a really detailed look through all of those answers tomorrow because that is really, really useful. But we'll paste the link in now. Have you got it copied, Olivia, or I can grab
Yeah.
it? Brilliant.
Yeah, I'll pin it to the chat as well, just so hopefully everyone can access that nice and easily. And yeah, as Tom mentioned in the comments, we will send out the recording of the webinar as well tomorrow morning, just so you can pass it on to any colleagues who might not have been able to attend. Because yeah, it's a really great opportunity to get all of you on board for the next 3 months. And yeah, we're really excited to be have you all join us. So yeah, the link is just in the chat. Hopefully you can see it.
Yeah, and we will, as
Within
Olivia
the
just said, we will send that out tomorrow. Somebody just asking, we will send it out alongside the recording as well.
yeah.
But if you've got any questions at all, I know lots of people have been asking questions throughout the webinar, which is brilliant, and hopefully we've covered lots of areas in detail. But please do, if you've got any questions at all, whether it's about getting set up and started, whether it's about some of the things we're bringing in the future, individual tools that are available at the moment, how they work, about the membership, then please do ask away, and we'll be happy to answer. But yeah, those just saying thank you. If you've got everything you need, that's fantastic. And hopefully, yeah, we look forward to working alongside lots of you over the next few months.
Yeah, we'll be working hard to get you all set up tomorrow. So yeah, if you do fill out the form this evening, then just keep an eye on your email inboxes tomorrow, and we'll let you know as soon as we've got you and your classes set up.
Fantastic. But yeah, if anybody's got any specific questions, feel free to ask. We'll stick around for a little while in case anything comes through. You can
Yeah,
also obviously email us at any point. So it's just Olivia at classroom42.com, Tom at classroom42.com. There's a contact us page on the site as well. So if questions come to mind later, that's absolutely fine as well.
yeah, and of course, if you have any questions or queries about the kind of the sign up form, you can just pop them in the comments as well on the form, and we'll look through all of those as well.
All right, I'm guessing. I'm thinking we must have answered pretty much everything as we went through. But any questions at all, please drop them in.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to be on the webinar with us. It's a busy time of year. Oh yeah, we've just got
So,
one question there about
yeah.
adding teachers later. So yeah, if you ever want to add additional teachers or additional classes, you can just drop us an email. Our colleague Lorna, who is support at Classroom 42, she'll be more than happy to set up any additional teachers or classes, or help out with anything to do with the membership.
And I think someone's just asked Hannah, so the form, would I tick I'm a current member if I'm on the 30-day trial? No, you can I presume that's a no, Olivia. Is it best
Yeah,
to
I
say
think
no for that
yeah.
one? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you click no for that, but it's if you don't mind actually on the last page of the form in the comments or queries, if you just say recently started a 30-day trial, that would actually be really useful and would save us a job. So we can just make sure everything's set up in the right way. Yes. Yeah, if you that's what I was just thinking with the 30-day trial. So if you've already got some teachers and classes set up, yeah, it would save us having to do that again. So yeah, if you just pop that in the comments, perfect. And we will make sure anything that's already set up, we don't duplicate it. If there's additional classes you've added in, we'll add those. Okay, any final questions? If you drop them in now. But if not, yeah, thanks again, everybody, for your time this evening. And we'll be in touch tomorrow with the recording. And then hopefully we'll be setting lots of you up over the next few days.
Yeah,
Thanks very
brilliant. Thanks,
much.
everyone.
Have a good evening.